All right, so we're going to do a read aloud of the Indian Ocean trade and how that influenced East Africa. You want to make sure that you're following along with the text, and you're going to have to pause the video at various points to write down any key notes or facts that relate to the main idea. Okay, here we go. Indian Ocean trade. In 1980, an adventurer recreating the legendary voyage of Sinbad the Sailor came to a halt near the island of Sri Lanka. The winds propelling his ship suddenly stopped, and for 435 days he went nowhere. Ancient East African sailors could have predicted this occurrence because they understood exactly when the Indian Ocean's winds blew and when they did not. So here's the main idea that we're going to be looking at. You want to make sure that you find key details that help support this main idea. The Indian Ocean was a key part of East Africa's far reaching trade network. So, once again, you're looking for notes and facts that support this key idea. Monsoon winds. The East African coast became important for trade because the area could easily be reached by land or sea. Traders could bring goods from inland areas and load them onto ships in the Red Sea. However, even experienced sailors clung to the coastlines because their ships and navigational skills were not good enough to sail safely out to sea. Beginning around 8800, however, East African mariners developed the skills and ships to cross the Indian Ocean, which is the world's third largest ocean. They also learned how to use the wind to carry them all the way back to India and back, if they timed it right. From April to October, strong winds called monsoons blow northeast from Africa toward India. Between November and March, the winds reverse direction and blow southwest from India to Africa. They are extremely reliable and make it possible for a sailing ship to make the long journey from Africa to India and back. Even with the winds, however, the round trip could take as long as a full year. So stop for a second and take a look at this image. We can see from October to March, the winds are moving southwest from India toward Africa. And from April to September, the winds blow northeast from Africa toward India. Sailors learned to predict these winds and plan their journeys around them. Merchants who needed to move their goods between Africa and India hired experienced sailors who knew the winds. This trade across the Indian Ocean helped the economic development of both regions. Indian Ocean Trade Network. Over time, mariners and merchants continued working together to create an extensive trade network around the Indian Ocean. This network directly linked East Africa with Arabia, Persia, India, and Southwest Asia. Traders could transport goods to Europe, the Middle East, and even China. New sailing technology made the trade network possible. Trading goods across the ocean required a sturdy ship that could carry a large amount of goods. In the Indian Ocean trade, that ship was called a dhow. Dhows not only carried goods, but they also transported important elements of culture, such as language and religion. So here you can see a dhow. I'm going to read the caption over here that explains it a little more. Dhows typically had long, thin hulls and triangular sails that were good at catching the monsoon winds. The winds were critical for successful voyages. The early dhows were able to carry relatively large shipments of trade goods. They would travel across the Indian Ocean, trade their cargo, and return to Africa with the silks and other valuables. Today, many types of dhows are still used along the East African coast. With the expansion of trade, more Muslim merchants settled on the East African coast and married into local ruling families. Coastal villages grew into important trading towns controlled by Muslim rulers called sultans. As Muslim sailors and merchants traveled for trade, they introduced Islam to people throughout East Africa. As a result, the region developed a distinctive African Arabic culture. It was an example of how people from other regions would influence Africa.